morning to you. Welcome to Camnet Breakfast. I'm your host. My name is Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Yeah, it's been a crazy week, I would say. That's one thing I wanted to start with because the fuel prices, though, some of us were denied leaves this morning because, or no, this morning I was picked up, like yesterday. Yeah, because fuel prices were high, so we're told to contribute for fuel. Yeah, but anyways, there was a reason why that has been happening and why it will continue happening. So just stay glued to see what we should expect from the New Dawn government. So many promises were made. Some are being fulfilled, some are yet to be fulfilled, and some are yet to be told. We are yet to be told about them and see how that will go. How is your morning today? How was your week? What have you been up to? What's for the weekend? How is your morning going on this particular day? Hope you've managed to actually stretch and make sure that you break those stretch those backs, because we know some of you have got white collar jobs that requires you to sit from actually 7:30 to 5 p.m. in the evening. So on today's breakfast show, we've got so many things lined up for you, and I hope that you get updated on some of the current affairs that you missed in the course of the week. We'll just make sure that we bring you up to speed, and also on the other side we'll get to look at what's happening on the money market, at how much the foreign currencies are actually selling and buying us at, and also on the other side we'll zoom into the headlines where we'll get to look at the stories that made headlines in the course of the week. At this particular point, let's get into our first segment of the day, which is the Morning Boost. I'll join you on the other side. Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to our morning breakfast, and this is the Morning Boost, and I am your presenter, Isaac Matsa. I am here so that we can be able to do a warm-up exercise together just before you go about your day. All right, as usual, we are going to start with a warm-up. There we go, warm-up. 1 minute warm-up. After that, we'll be able to do some mountain climbers. Just that. For a minute. Let's go. How was your night? Say something so that we know where you're watching us from. If you're watching via Facebook, let's go. By the way, this is what I'm doing. See that? That's the workout all together. You're going to feel your calves actually. You're going to feel your legs. 1 minute warm up. Let's go. And let's change to the warm up. That protein. Go. 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 Down with the warm up. Getting into a wake up now. Let's go. Faster. Faster. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All right. That's it. Today, we're going to do something different. Let's do this now. Go down. Lay flat. It's a 3-minute workout. Bring in your leg out, in, out, okay? In, out, out. That's the workout you're going to do now. So you come here, go down, body posture like that. Let's go. 1, 2. Let's work on the tummy. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's your first 10. So I'm going to do another 10. Let's go. Same thing. Down, straight up, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you're doing it correctly, you're going to feel your arms. 10. Okay, so that's 20. I have 2 more sets. Remember, just 5 minutes every morning. That's all you need. Okay, 3rd set, let's go. 1, 2, 3. You should feel your arms. 4, and the belly. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so that's my 3rd set. I'm gonna do the 4th one now. So that's gonna be 40. So I'm working on the tummy, also strengthening my arms. Let's go, last 10. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 40. So I've worked on my triceps and biceps, burning fat on the arms and the tummy as well. Okay, so the same workout. This time I'm gonna do it faster. Remember, it's a 3 minutes workout. Okay, so I'm good. 1 minute now. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, let's cool down. So try that. After you come back home, try to do those workouts. And they're going to work out for you perfectly. So this is very good for you every time you do that. So let's do now a cooling down now. Easy. Easy. You've done the workout already. Easy. Thank you so much. This is Isaac Matsa, and I'm going to see you again. Stay blessed and stay fit. Thank you.
Well, welcome back. Remember that you can actually get interactive with us in the studio live on set on 0968 675 273, 0968 675 273. Is there anything that you would love to talk about or something that you would love to address on this particular show, or something that you saw that caught your attention in the course of the week? And then on the other side, zooming into the headlines, like I mentioned, we'll actually update you on current affairs or stories that made headlines in the course of the week. So in case you missed out on anything, we'll make sure that you are up to date. And also not forgetting our medical staff or people that are in the medical field actually have their fingers crossed, because the recruitment of medical personnel is underway, and also there was a talk in Parliament of the recruitment of teachers as well. So there are these two fields that are actually very, very, very anxious to see who is going to make it to the list. Well, on that note, let's get into your second segment of the day, which is the Health Corner. Let's see what we're talking about today.
Good morning, viewers. This is Dr. Kakung Simpongwe, Assistant Director, Adolescent Health, based at the Ministry of Health. I come from Medical Women Association of Zambia, and this week we've been talking about adolescent health, and we've covered a lot of topics. Yesterday we were talking about how young people can participate in health programs, and we mentioned that they can be part of the peer educators who are young people working closely with health facilities. They can also be part of clubs that are formed in school to educate young people on health issues. There are youth groups in some religious settings. They can also participate in other community activities that are taking place, sensitizing their peers on what is COVID, TB, HIV, and they can also work with the facilities, the clinics, to ensure that some of the activities that clinics plan targeting their communities also target or reach young people. So today we are going to talk about the role of parents and community leaders to improve adolescents' health. I think if you recall what we've been talking about the whole week, there are so many aspects that are very, very important and factors that contribute to the well-being of the adolescent we've been talking about. So we start with parents. We discussed earlier on, and we are again repeating this call to our parents, that their role in improving the health of adolescents, their children, is actually to be present, to be aware of what is happening, to be asking questions, to provide guidance, to show them unconditional love, so that their self-esteem and confidence is developed for them to be able to resist peer pressure. Parents are the first teachers of their children, and I think what the parents say really should also matter, not only what the teacher said. I know most of the children say teacher said, but I think children, adolescents themselves said they are actually missing counsel, time, communication from their parents. Then if we move on to our community leaders, we have civic leaders, we have traditional leaders, as well as religious leaders. For civic leaders, the appeal from young people is that if they could be considered to have recreational facilities in the plans that local authorities develop, that will really help them stay away from illicit activities. And also the enforcement of laws that control the sale of alcohol and tobacco. Of course, they have to work closely with the community so that we really protect young people's lives from abusing alcohol and substances. Then traditional practices that encourage child marriage and training of girls during initiation to prepare them for marriage. I think those are some of the practices that we can abolish. Initiation ceremonies are good. We just need to maybe tailor the curriculum, the teaching, so that we provide the information that is required at that age, and not necessarily preparing an adolescent for marriage. So those are some of the roles that our community leaders and other gatekeepers can play, really, to help us improve the health of our adolescents. Then religious leaders, again, the appeal is that we continue with the youth groups that exist, and also create a platform for health workers to provide information on what is HIV. I think that the low literacy levels among adolescents is really worrying us, and we want to take advantage of every opportunity where young people are gathered, really to educate them, so that with informed decision, accurate health information, they'll be able to make informed decision, and also to reduce risky behavior. And we also want to continue encouraging religious leaders to identify vulnerable adolescents within the religious setting, so that they are supported with education. And there are also adolescents who really need counseling. Maybe where they are coming from, they are abused, they don't have any confidence, and we are appealing to religious setting, really, to have that space where young people can open up and be advised and be counseled, so that they don't go into depression. So those are some of the roles that our parents and community leaders can play to help us have a very supportive and protective environment that will really promote healthy behavior and also safeguard the lives of adolescents. So just to summarize again, we talked about how parents are very, very important in ensuring that their children are educated and they are given skills to resist pressure. And we also talked about the civic leaders, how they are very, very vital to ensuring that we have recreational facilities as well as control the sale of tobacco and alcohol so that young people are protected. We talked about traditional leaders who are also key in ensuring that harmful traditional practices are abolished, and in religious setting, that is a very conducive environment where we can also educate young people in those settings on all health issues so that they are able to be informed and protect themselves. So this has been your doctor, Dr. Kakung Simpongwe. Thank you so much for listening in, and continue watching Camnet TV. Goodbye.
Well, there you have it. They say my own papa and I think papa. Our parents take care of us while we're growing, and then when we grow up, it's actually the other way around. We start taking care of our parents. And also they say it takes a whole community to raise a child. Well, on Health Corner, those were actually very important points where parents play a very, very important role in a child's life, especially adolescents and stuff like that. Hope you learned one or two things, and remember that you can actually get interactive with us live in the studio on 0968675273. Now quickly, let's get into the money market and see how the foreign exchange looks like as of today. So the US dollar is buying at 17 kwacha 0.62 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 0.97 ngwe. The South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha 0.21 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 0.23 ngwe. The euro is buying at 18 kwacha 0.89 ngwe and selling at 19 kwacha 0.26 ngwe. The British pound is buying at 23 kwacha 0.8 ngwe and selling at 23 kwacha 0.53 ngwe. That is your money market. Remember, you're watching the Camnet Breakfast with me, Precious Mzea Sakaleji. And right about now, let's take a quick short break and we'll come back and zoom into the headlines.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
And bananas. Working, waiting, this what you've been praying for.
Welcome back. 0968-675-273, 0968-675-273. So now let's quickly get into zooming into our headlines and talk about the issues that caught our attention in the course of the week. We're talking of the fuel prices actually increasing by almost 5 kwacha effective midnight of 31st March, which was 1st April. And yesterday was April Fool's. I couldn't manage to fool my colleagues because they were aware. And I couldn't manage to fool my parents as well because they were aware. So I didn't have anyone to fool yesterday, but I was fooled. It was a good one. Someone got to me yesterday, and I hope you weren't part of the Fool's gang of yesterday, since people still celebrate Fool's Day. But just so you know, if you are fooled after 12 hours, somebody owes you an apology. Because growing up, we were told Fool's Day only lasts for 12 hours, which is from like midnight of midnight, early morning of 1st April, and last day of the 31st of March, in the middle, up to the 12th of 1st of April. So if you were fooled after 12 hours, somebody owes you an apology. But anyway, moving on, let's get into the story that got a lot of taxi drivers, bus drivers, those that own cars, those that are on the road half the time, have a say. Different opinions from different stakeholders and also the citizens at large. I didn't really have an opinion. I do have an opinion though, because I feel this was announced some time back to say, because of how the kwacha is doing on the international market, fuel prices will vary, and also we'll have all this monthly new fuel prices every month. There were some suggestions from different stakeholders to say, why not have it like quarterly? Like, you know what you know what to expect the first 3 months, or the second three months, the second quarter, the first, second, third, and fourth quarter when it comes to fuel. But then ARB decided, or there was an announcement to say this is what will be happening, so that we get to understand how the kwacha is doing on the international market. And also some things that were attached to that statement is the war that's happening between Ukraine and Russia. So let's take a look at this, and then afterwards we'll take a look at what opposition political party leaders and also stakeholders had to say concerning that.
We understand that the cost of living is too high. Vintu vadula every week, mitengo ya vintu ichinja every week. Manje ma salary ya machinja every week. Yeah, salary ankara constant for a year. If you are lucky, once in a year you have an increment. But mitengo ikwela every week. Banga kale banji bantu, banga konze banji manyumba, banga sunge banji banja. Vikwati bayamba kuononge.
Agony, discomfort, agitation and disappointment has engulfed many Zambians in the wake of the fuel hike by the Energy Regulation Board, ERB, prompting many Zambians to think they misunderstood President Hakainde Hichilema when he assured cheap fuel and 3 meals a day during the August 12 general election campaign trail.
Names are Piri Jafet. Issue of fuel, it has just gone too much high. And we don't expect the economy to pick up in this way, because fuel is the key of everything. When fuel goes high, even our local foods will be higher, especially our staple food will be higher. Minimum will go high, everything has to go high. And even ourselves with transport here, it has become difficult to be charging people like 10 kwacha. Some of them are refusing.
We were many dishes, Tamuga to put them for that. Waifakira of people, then want to pause them Ranka and new prices.
Fakira, I mean, I 1 year ago, but I'm going to
The ERB has adjusted petroleum products by 4 kwacha 54 ngwe per litre for petrol and 4 kwacha 68 ngwe per litre for diesel, while kerosene has been adjusted by 3 kwacha 93 ngwe. The major direct consequence is the increase in transport, given that the majority poor Zambians depend on the public transport, which is in the hands of the private sector. And before the new prices are announced, the burden has already been shifted to commuters. Negotiations for a minimum fee have done nothing but subject commuters to to embarrassment with an available option of walking, thus hindering productivity.
About the fuel, so they're asking about 5 quarters here. So us here, as taxi drivers, the fuel up has been high.
So how much are you now charging?
Yeah, we have just, because the fuel has gone high, it's about 10 quarters. So first or so, we have increased the price.
But the customers are refusing?
Yeah, some they're complaining, like these ones also, they're asking about 5 quarters. So us, for instance, we are, you know, on the port here, on the port about 4. Us taxi drivers, we carry about 4 people. Okay, now if you go on this side, here from here coming to it's about 2.5 kilometers. Okay, now for us to make the profit, there's no profit. So they have just decided to increase about 10 quarters of one capacity.
In Batod, Kabushi constituency, lawmaker Bowman Rusambo shared his views on the subject of fuel.
He failed to buy the 5.5 kg bag of minimum. Even the Kapamela he was condemning, and that cooking oil was condemning. People can't afford even Pamela today. We talked about climate change. Aka in the HM and the UPND, they started laughing at us. No, you have just failed. There's nothing like that. There's no climate change. There's no global warming. It's just the whole excuse. They even went further to condemn us on COVID-19, if you recall very well. How can we agree today that all these increments which we are seeing in fuel, it's because of Russia-Ukraine conflict?
During the Vice President question time, Ms. Nalmango made the following remarks.
The promises were extremely genuine, and we will strive to make the lives of Zambians better. Yes, it increased yesterday, but for us, it is as a result of external factors upon which we have no control.
The fuel increase translates into a rise in the price of essential commodities, hence the need to identify coping remedies. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Well, there you have it. Great concern. As for me, concerning the fuel prices increasing, and then one of the reporter that did the story actually mentioned to say now passengers are going through embarrassment if you ask for what you have in your pocket and others decide to walk. I remember there was something that actually was trending on social media where this lady was asking to say, Nina 5 kwacha. Then the conductor told the lady to say, Gulanshawa, your 5 kwacha zambuenda, ukagulanshawa zambuenda, ukudia, ukuyenda, kwenda. So it's going to be really hard, the adjustments and stuff like that, because now transport fares are going to actually be increased. So now you have to budget for it. Okay, that's the only way we can try to survive. But there are those that have actually attached a certain amount to transport, which means they have to add on more. But then where is the money coming from as well? So we just need to make sure that in as much as we are going through this moment, we should just plan on our finances. And also Financial Literacy Week was talking about being money smart. So you just need to learn how to manage your finances during this particular time. So now let's get into another story that caught our attention in the course of the week. And this is about Mr. Raphael Nakachinda, and this is what happened.
Friday morning, the Lusaka's Magistrate Court was observed to be packed with opposition Patriotic Front cases when PF member Dr. Chishimba Kambri, who had gone to hear his alleged defamation of the president case against the former president, Edgar Lungu, bumped into PF media chairperson for publicity, Raphael Nakachinda, who is also accused of defamation of the president. Coming back to Mr. Nakachinda's case, where he's accused of defaming the Republican president Hakainde Hichilema, drama characterized the turn of events Friday morning as the state failed to prosecute the case following challenges to lead its witness, a journalist from Crown TV. A situation that saw Lusaka Magistrate Jennifer Walia give the case an early adjournment to allow the state to put its house in order. This is in a matter in which Mr. Nakashinda is facing one count of defamation of the president, contrary to the laws of Zambia. He is alleged to have accused the head of state of summoning judges at his private residence, intimidating and coercing them to frustrate PF legal battles. And speaking shortly after his appearance, Mr. Nakashinda says there is need to ensure the principle of separation of power is enhanced.
It's a commitment, a radical commitment to defend our democracy. Obviously, to ensure that the principle of separation of powers is enhanced. The silver line between the executive, the judiciary, the legislature, which is parliament, should never be eroded.
Meanwhile, acting PF President Given Lubinda had this comment.
This is all because they have an insatiable appetite for business. The people who are governing this country today are not service people, they are business people. They are into this for business. This is more the reason why when Zambia is capable of growing its own poles for electricity, they go and contract foreign companies. They want to externalize dollars from Zambia to go to Zimbabwe and South Africa. And they say that they are thinking about Zambia. They are not concerned about the welfare of Zambians. These Zambians, you must know. Praise singers, time has come for you to also be realistic. Don't just go about singing praises without you understanding that on a daily basis the cost of living for you too is getting more and more expensive. Let us wake up, Zambians.
He further disclosed that the PF is building itself to ensure that it becomes the only alternative political party.
To even say we're regrouping is not correct. What we're doing is building. We're building ourselves to become the only alternative in this country. And there is no question about it. Look at how all the promises have been broken. All of them. I said once, please, if indeed we store 3 kwacha on a price of fuel of 15 kwacha, now that the price of fuel is 26 kwacha today, can you tell me who is stealing the 11 kwacha? Tell us who is stealing the 11 kwacha now that the price of fuel is 26 kwacha. And by the way, if you look at the international price of fuel today, there is no justification whatsoever for the fuel in Zambia to cost 26 kwacha.
Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
There you have it, facing charges of defamation of the president. We'll see how the court ruling will be. Now moving on to our next story, which is the recruitment of teachers. There was our vice president answered the questions during the question and answer session in Parliament, and we are looking forward to see how many teachers will be recruited and where they will be placed and stuff like that. So there has been talks about how the process is going and also why it has delayed. Also on the other side, we're talking of if you have been aware or if you have taken a keen interest in following these when it comes to the recruitment of medical staff and also the teachers. If you were around Ministry of Health on, is it Wednesday, Thursday, you would have seen that there were a lot of medical personnel in the medical field that were actually sending in their application and hoping to be on the list. Okay, well, so now we're waiting to see how the teacher process will be, the teacher recruitment process will be in the coming days or in the coming months. So this is what happened in Parliament.
Recently, the Teaching Service Commission, working with the Minister of Education and other relevant stakeholders, embarked on the process to clean up the sector. The process involved a crackdown on irregularities and sorting out teachers who have reached retirement age and pave way to new ones and upgrade deserving teachers. And Friday, 3rd April 2022, Minister of Education Douglas Siakalima unveiled a roadmap for the recruitment of 30,000 teachers as enshrined in the 2022 national budget. It says in order to allow for transparency and accountability, the Zambia Postal Services ZAMPOST will capture all applications received and create a database effective 5th April 2022 and conclude the delivery by 15th April 2022.
A series of engagements were conducted, and by the 28th November 2021, ZAMPOST agreed on the modalities to be used during the 2022 recruitment in order to ensure impartiality in the receipt and delivery of applications using an electronic system, and at the same time, hard copies to be delivered to the DEPS officers.
Mr. Siakalima also outlined how the teachers will be recruited.
1,500 senior secondary school subjects teachers. 2, 26,597 primary school class teachers and junior secondary school subjects teachers. And 3, 1,903 early childhood education teachers. This is against a backdrop of 1,807 recruited early childhood teachers in the last 10 years. 1,903 this year, against the backdrop of 1,807 recruited in 10 years. That gives you an average of 180 every year. Just once, 1,903 for us.
He says he will not tolerate nepotism and corruption, adding that those with fake results must stay away from the recruitment process.
Effective learning to take place in a classroom, there should be a teacher. It is for this reason that the New Dawn government puts emphasis on having adequate teachers in schools, especially schools in rural areas. Providing quality and lifelong accessible, equitable and relevant education for all is at the heart of the New Dawn government. Education is an equalizer, hence the need to provide quality and equitable education. As such, the recruitment of 30,000 teachers will invariably create opportunities for all citizens of this country who are expected to reach their full potential.
The names of successive candidates will be published on the 17th and 18th May 2022. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Goodwill Ambassador of Persons with Disability, Mr. Elijah Ngwale, a man that was honored by His Excellence, a man that holds so many titles, I would say. He's smiling right now, you should see. Good morning, welcome to the Breakfast Show.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
It's good to see you.
Good for me, I don't say good to meet you.
So
but without overthrowing you,
yes.
I would like to subject the 7th President of the Republic of Zambia, man of God. I don't call him His Excellency. To me, he's man of God. Man of God, President Hakainde Hichilema, for conferring upon me the insignia of honor on 24th of October 2021. The Bemba people say, wa HH, Vari wa Masana, Vari wa Pera Wangwale, insignia of honor. So, HH, thank you very much, Mr. President.
You look very nice today. I love the blue. The blue looks great on you. The blue jacket and the blue shirt and the blue tie. You look amazing today.
It's a great honor as a septuagenarian to have such commendations and encomia from a lady. You know, it's very rare that you are commended like that. One, you are a septuagenarian. It means you are dilapidated, debilitated, and for a lady to have said those nice words, really, I feel cardiovascular palpitations, and cardiac arrest.
I need a dictionary. Whatever Mr. Barakatson says, I will need a dictionary. So now let's get into your favorite question. You told me before we started the show that you want to re-emphasize on how this question needs to be answered, or how they will be identified. Who is a person with disability?
First of all, you non-disabled people insult us a lot. You call us differently abled, physically challenged, people living with disabilities, and so on and so forth. We are not. According to just wait. According to convention on the rights, yes, according to persons to convention on the rights of persons with disabilities, and I quote, persons with disabilities include those who have long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairments, which in interaction with various barriers may hinder their full and effective participation in society on an equal basis with others. End of quote. So don't call us, don't use euphemisms. Don't speak to us euphemistically, differently abled, just because we like to placate as persons with abilities, differently abled, physically challenged, people living with disabilities, and you even call us marginalized people. Why do you call us marginalized? Are we not created in the image of God? It means only you who are disabled and marginalized, us are marginalized. Well, we are not. Just elevate our status. So please, henceforth, call us persons with disabilities. Henceforth, call me blind, not visually impaired person. Visually impaired is a euphemism. It promotes systemic discrimination. Another question, madam.
Another question. Getting on to another question. The Goodwill Ambassador of Persons with Disabilities. We had put to rest one of the most prominent people in Zambia, Mr. Lupando Mukonga, on the 31st of March 2022. How will you remember him?
I remember him. Now, first of all, before he died, very little did I know about him, apart from the fact that he was a professor, just like many other professors. Me, I'm a professor by default. I'm not professor. In fact, these bigger people decapitate me to learn that a professor, I'm only professor. I'm not at all. But very little was said about him when he was living. But when he passed on, I now say, how can we catalog? How can we calculate? How can we tabulate? How can we enumerate the stupendous contributions he has made to the nation, nay, to the globe? Hospitals, universities, cooperatives here and there. So he will be remembered as a great man. His voluminous, stupendous and splendiferous contribution will not be cast into obliteration or oblivion. Now, the sad thing is that we learn about him when he is no more. So there is an ardent and urgent need for us to revise things. This is what I call it national hypocrisy, even universal hypocrisy, whereby you subject somebody to encomia and accolades when he or she is living. I mean, is dead. When they were not, you don't do that. So please, let us have Zambia. We begin with Zambia. That when somebody is living, let us know about his disadvantages. For example, sorry to zigzag meander and stagger. These are the idiosyncrasies and characteristics of us blind people. When, for example, like me, know about the bad sides of me. No, I'm a very bad person because the relationship between me and some of my children is very bad, and I chase them. You note these things. This is true. And B, I'm a strong believer in the philosophy and ideology of blindocracy and blindism. I strongly believe that the blind must lead the sighted, and the sighted must guide the blind. So when I'm dead, you know the good side, the bad side. But coming back to Professor Munkonge, he contributed, as I said, stupendously. That's what we are learning. That's what I'm learning now. And those should not be cast into oblivion. Now allow me to do a little bit of music. We friends on earth shall meet in gladness when swift the moments fly, yet ever comes a thought outstanding that we must say goodbye. We'll never say goodbye in heaven. We'll never say goodbye. For in that land of joy and sorrow, we'll never say goodbye.
Yeah,
Another question.
That was good. That was amazing. Now, you're talking about hypocrisy when someone dies. It's not only in Zambia. We can say Africa.
That's why you call it universal hypocrisy.
Universal hypocrisy.
Yes.
How do you think that can be minimized?
It can be minimized that as when one is living, do research about him, and you know like we were talking about Munkonge.
Honor them
but by now, yes, honor them when they are alive. And even condemn them like me, you know, when I die, you say that man he used the braggadocio, concordant, his vocabulary, you say good things, but now I'm telling you I'm not as bad I've got also my peccadillos and idiosyncrasies, because I spent a lot of time on issues of personal abilities without caring the children. Each time my wife, the late Godfrida, reported something about the children, about my children, I had to weep instead of disciplining them. So your question, what do? We do speak about them and honor and honor them, and we don't exaggerate. Again, when I die, you shouldn't exaggerate. Braggadocio was just, it was good here and there, and also you compare and contrast. Not the way we do things in Zambia, but on Professor Munkonge, definitely we're very unfair in that we didn't know much about him. Nothing much was done about him. You know, universities, hospitals, cooperatives, everywhere, Barosland, Kaufela, and these things we didn't know until late. No, we shouldn't be doing like that. So let's do much more about the people while they are living. And the way we compare, like me, if you are the one who will be interviewing people or who will be delivering my eulogy, don't just concentrate on the good things that you'll be associated with. Please zigzag. But he was my associations with his children, what. And you must be a student of my Facebook, because I'm putting these things here on Facebook so that people are not. Yes.
What's your Facebook username?
I'll send it to you so that or you can ask him the one I've come with.
Okay, I'll ask him.
Yes, because my sorry to be my declaration, my resolution this year is washing dirty linen in public. Washing dirty.
Bringing out the dirty laundry in public.
Yes, that's my what. That's anything about me. I'll put it on my Facebook.
We will learn more about.
Yes, so you don't cheat the people. Braggadocio, something. Braggadocio. You even call me Rashid Braggadocio. No.
Now, coming to the main reason why we called for this interview is you were talking our previous interviews. You spoke about we haven't had enough or none in government offices, persons with disabilities being appointed, and you being a diehard fan, how does it feel knowing for the fact that the UPND government is the first to actually appoint someone with many, actually not even one person, many persons with disabilities in government? Let's talk of John Chiti and also Lusa on the other side. How does it make you feel?
First, if I said what I've said, I would like to apologize to angels above. I would like to apologize to the late President Kaunda. UPND, and that's why UPND is being, my party is being misled to say they are the first. Let me tell you, in 1987, President Kaunda appointed the late Kapisha Kamangala Blind as a member of the Public Service Commission. In 1988, President Kaunda appointed the late Pardon Katongo, who was physically disabled, as a member of the Public Service Commission. And in 1988, if I can cut the long story short, the late Lazarus Tembo Blind was nominated member of parliament and appointed minister of state of culture. That was after the late Konwek had won election. During the time of Sata, President Sata, he appointed Daka Jere, the late Daka Jere, who was Patricia Daka Jere, who was physically, who had a physical disability, as a member of the Public Service Commission. And my friend was appointed in PF. This is Cholaka Faula. When we meet, he said, I do things blindly, and I tell him he does things leglessly. Kafaula is food reserve agent. So if I said that if I told you that there was nothing, that was no, I was wrong. There were a lot of appointments, many of persons with disabilities, including the blind. Now, coming to now, modify. What is your question? You say, as I die hard.
How does it make you feel knowing that there has been people that have been appointed in the new Don government with this?
I feel, you know, what people have misled. Have misled my head of state, man of God. They say appoint them. So what is happening now? They are appointing them, and not meritoriously. No, they just pick. In fact, I'm not going to mention people's names. No, in public domain, go and ask somebody who is at human rights now, Chama, about the rights. What does the lady know about rights? Lusa, visually impaired, they like to call themselves visually impaired, but they call me blind, because if you call me visually impaired, I will say you have insulted me. Visually impaired. Public Service Commission. He's the one now whom they are going, what? So what they are doing in now is that on the 3rd of December, a few persons with abilities, Frankie Musukwa, and somebody whose name I've forgotten, blind, Frankie Musukwa is deaf, and the Federation of the Blind President, they presented a petition. And I'm understanding now the PF is going around to say it's because of this petition that people are appointing. They are not appointing people meritoriously. I was going to be very sad if I was honored by a man of God, HH, after this petition. But I was honored in October. So what I'm saying is that please, UPND, let us help our President HH to do the right things. Let us help even this minister, Honorable Doreen Mwamba, a very active minister indeed. Each time I go to her office, she embraces me metaphorically. Do you know what metaphor is?
No.
You don't know what metaphor? So when I say she embraces me metaphorically, what do you think?
She welcomed you.
Yes, that metaphor, that's right. Because if you don't know it, many people would think embracing literally. But we are talking metaphorically.
Yes.
And a very active minister, sorry to jump here and there, but time is against us. On the 14th of January, there was a meeting, the most disorganized meeting that I've ever attended. But paradoxically and ironically, you're getting me? Paradoxically and ironically, the most successful meeting that I had ever attended, because she brought in political advisor to the president and the minister for small
and medium.
Yes. So it was mostly disorganized in a Bemba fashion, but more successful in a Bemba fashion. So what I'm saying is that people must not mislead the ministers. People must not mislead the president when it comes to appointment. These appointments, I'm telling you now, sorry for being apocalyptic and eschatological, but I'm stating the fact that people regret, because anybody, they'll be picking anybody so long is legless or has got some potholes in his head like me. They come, but that shouldn't be the case. I don't know whether I've exactly meandered.
You answered the question, which brings me back to you had a meeting on the 14th of January 2021 with persons with disabilities, stakeholders of persons with disabilities, and you were given the responsibility to compile a report. How far is the report? We haven't gotten a report yet.
Now, what happened was that I myself was just invited. I was not even an organizer, but I was on the high table, and you know the Honorable Doreen Mwamba just orally and informally, but tenderly. I'm using these three words. Orally, informally, and tenderly spoke to me. Bangwali mkalimbe report, mambo mkalimbe report. Now, knowing the members as they are, I said, if I don't write a report, me myself, although she was informal, when we meet, she will blast me. I'm going to report the meeting. So I did it on my own volition, and I wrote that. I think I've given you that report. I wrote that's the report which is supposed to be submitted to the minister. The State House wants this report, but according to protocol etiquette, and I don't know whether I should also use propriety, etiquette, protocol, and propriety. The ministry should have this report. The minister. Have you handed it over? No, there is this bureaucracy in the ministry. Bureaucracy, you have to go through civil servants and listen. The civil servants in the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services are still suffering from Julian phobia. Julian, you know, she was the chief executive officer of the Zambia Agency for Persons with Abilities. So she terrorized anybody during the time when President Edgar Lungu was president of. So they have got that Julian phobia mentality. They fear they can't even speak to the minister. But I would like to seize SEIZDE, not CEASE, seize this opportunity that if these civil servants, among whom are the director for social welfare, and my wakoni wako Mumba charuchwa mana wako Mosi Kumawa, and Mr. Mono Tonga, and the Tongas now are thinking of prefixing all the Tonga names so that it becomes Amono. I would like to say that if they don't facilitate the presentation of this report to next week to the minister, then I'll take it to State House straight, because the State House also need it. Okay, so now, yes, I'm looking at the report right now. The report of persons with disability stakeholders meeting held at Long Acres in Lusaka on Friday, 14th January 2022. So can you read the contents, just the contents for people to know what it has? Okay, so the contents, there's preface, introduction, acknowledgement, lacks and inadequacies, protocol, etiquette, decorum, and propriety, deliberations, recommendations, conclusion, and also what does CRPD in excess mean? Okay, then there's the profile as well. So in the report, you actually gave your reasons to why it took you long to write the report. No, it didn't take. It was an individual effort. It took long for me to compile. No, I finished sometime, but it's what this protocol, what the member call protocol, which is taking place. Etiquette, what they call etiquette and protocol. Because you know in civil service, the civil servant, the PS, I would have gone to the PS, but according to the arrangement in the Ministry of Community Development, issues of persons with abilities, they have put them under the Department of Social Welfare. So in other words, the Department of Social Welfare, they can even use John 14 verse 6 to say, I, the director, am the way, the truth, and the light. Nobody should go unto the minister, but they have to come to me first. So it's just because of the protocol or protocol that has actually made you. Yes, but the report is ready. It is ready. I'm looking at it right now. Yes. Anyways, Mr. Ngwale, before we let you go, what are your closing remarks? Under a minute. My closing remarks are that let us help the president, Hakainde Hichilema, his government to develop, and we don't want this. We have been infiltrated politics of persons with abilities. We have been infiltrated by politics of non-disabled people. You are bringing confusion. There are some one or two government officials bringing confusion. We don't want this. Very, very soon, I'll write, I think, to the president about what's happening now. But my last word is this. And I'll bring the blind by a way they know not. I'll lead them in paths they have not known. I'll make darkness light before them and crooked things straight. These things shall I do unto them and not forsake them. Isaiah 42 verse 16.
Amen. Well, there you have it. I was having a conversation with the Goodwill Ambassador, one of my favorites, Mr. Elijah Ngwale, and he was just telling us more about the report and also other things when it comes to persons with disabilities. And also he has defined what exactly a person with a disability is, or what they should be called, and also what they should not be called. While you're still watching the Camnet Breakfast, we'll get into our second conversation just after this.
And bananas. Working, waiting, this what you've been praying for. Oh, we testify, we celebrate.
Hello, I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
We testify, we celebrate. For all you've done, Lord, we give you all the praise. Oh, we testify, we celebrate. Oh, for all you've done, Lord, we give you all the praise.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Well, you're still watching the Camnet Breakfast, and joining me on set is Emmanuel Chabamba, who is a social activist and also a peer educator. He's just here to highlight more on one of the topics that we have actually looked at on the breakfast show concerning peer pressure and also the high rate of suicide cases, suicide victims, and those that have actually come close to suicide. So Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning. Thank
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So now let's quickly get into it. What is that one thing that has actually caught your concern among us, the young people?
All right.
Caught your attention rather among us, the young people.
Okay. So actually, it's the rate of suicide at the moment. It's one thing that really came to my attention. I came to think about it. How can I help in this situation? How can I make myself relevant? I cannot do poetry. I cannot sing. What else can I do? I feel I can contribute by enlightening and educating society about the current problems that we are facing, such as suicide.
So, do you have like a group? Do you go around in communities sensitizing people about suicide? What are your means? What means are you using to communicate to the people?
All right, thank you. At the moment, we are trying to come up with a group as it is at the moment, but we are just starting. So one of the modes we are thinking of is, the world is revolving, and we need to catch the attention of youths. So the best way to catch we're trying to use social media, but maybe for those you go, it's not only those on social media, but you find when you go in town, you find people also on the streets, they are busy working. What do they do? But you find either a TV set somewhere or they have a radio somewhere. Even when you're moving in buses, you always find the driver playing something from the radio. So we're trying to use the TV station and the radio stations to be able to reach out to at least a large number of the youths that might end up being victims of this situation.
Okay, so what is your current topic that you are sensitizing the young people on?
Okay, the current topic is suicide, and we have to elaborate a little bit more on how peer pressure also can be incorporated in this situation.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so basically, I wouldn't go any further without saying what suicide is.
Yes.
So when you look at suicide, many of course will put it in those terms and whatsoever, but in short words, to keep it short, suicide is simply ending your life, okay, with an intention to die. That's basically, those are the simple terms I can use. So you find lately, there are many reasons. There's no specific, which we can have as a specific reasons, because there are a lot more. But all in all these reasons that we have, there's a common factor of which you find it's either there's a form of disappointment in it. No matter how suicide happens, there's a matter of disappointment, there's a matter of stress. So that's one of the things, handling our stress. And the other thing is mental health. When we talk about mental health, it can also be incorporated, which we can say maybe as a reason to it, which is causing. But we can't have a specific, but we can be able to elaborate more on how we can be able to know that these are some of the situations which might end us, or which might lead us in this in the suicide cases. These you find when you do your research, you find they'll tell you access to firearms and whatsoever. Yes, but how one reacts to anxiety and anger is what's really important. You can be a culprit of, you can be a victim of suicide, depending on how you handle your anxiety and your stress, especially your anger. How do you react when you receive the bad news out there, of which many of us, many of the people who find themselves in the verge of committing suicide, it's one thing they are unable to do. They are unable to handle their anxiety and their stress in the way they are supposed to do. Yeah, but this is what we can say about it. There are a lot more reasons and other reasons that we can give which cause suicide. But this is what I thought. It's a bottom line, which is a common denominator, a common factor amongst them all. Of course, we talk about this young gentleman educating the wife, or not really the wife, he educates this girl until from secondary, until then later on they do everything, and the girl from nowhere says, I can't be with you. Of course, how do you take that? How would you react to that? So you find that before a person commits suicide, there are some important questions they ask themselves, and like the first question, of course, be like, why me? That's one of the questions of which I'm sure they don't even find the answers. The next question is, what do I do? When they reach that point of saying, what do I do? This is where most get it wrong and end up taking up the wrong route. So now, what can we do as society in order, or how can, before I get to what we can do as society, but I would say, how can one know that I'm at the verge of committing suicide? Or how can you know that your friend is at the verge of committing suicide or something? So one of the reasons how you can be able, one thing what you have to know is everything that we do, it happens twice, in the virtual reality and in the reality. What do I mean by this? I mean, it happens in the brain, of course. You plan it and then it comes to pass. So now, when that planning can manifest. The planning can manifest through ways like simple terms such as, I want to kill myself. From suddenly somebody begins to say, I think people are better off without me. When a person makes such statement, it means they're in some problems which they cannot be able, they feel they cannot do it on their own, and they feel society has neglected them, and they can't find the situation. Things like statements such as, I wish I was never born. How would one wish for that? Those are some of the symptoms that you can be able, when somebody starts to issue, or you see your colleague
messages.
Exactly. So the other reason, or the other way you can be able to notice this is when somebody becomes, they tend to dislocate themselves from society. So now this is the part where even we can incorporate a little more on peer pressure. Because when we talk about peer pressure on its own, it's like we have the two kinds, we have the positive and the negative, but we're much concerned about the negative, where we can define it as just a feeling of wanting to do what society is doing. When you see your friend is doing better, you feel those are the most important people. You don't feel that you yourself, I can also do it. You don't realize that it's just a matter of time. Of course, we can't have opportunities at the same time. So the better we accept the fact that we have opportunities at different paces, the better our society can be. So from there, you realize that there is that feeling of inferiorism in yourself, and you begin to feel society is not appreciating me. So in the end, what happens? You begin to dislocate yourself from the people. In the end, the dislocation of yourself from the people is really also it's another way of which you can be able to know that somebody is at the verge of committing suicide. In a nutshell, what we need, or what we can do as society, we can't have a solid, in as much as we cannot have, we don't have like a specific reason that causes suicide. We can't have a specific reason to end suicide. But we can have something that we can do as community. And as a key, there is more that we have to do as a community. We need to be each other's keeper. We need to take keen interest into knowing our friends and our colleagues' mental health, and how we are able to, how the problems that they are facing. Because most of these people, I can tell you is, they don't initially want to die. They just want to end their problems. So how do they end? They resort to suicide because they feel nobody can help them. Even if they take it out to society, they feel society will begin criticizing them. When they begin the criticism and they feel, okay, what's the whole essence of living? They feel hopeless and helpless at the same time. So when that feeling begins to manifest in most people, that's the more reason why you find they have no option. They feel they have no option and intended to kill themselves in that way.
You have literally answered all my 5 questions. Now I don't even know what to do.
Okay.
You've literally answered all my 5 questions, and I'm just like, okay, keep going. Okay, maybe he's forgotten one more, and then you just say. But anyways, that's actually a good observation. And also, before we let you go, what do you think is one important thing? How do you think the government can actually help out in curbing the vice of suicide?
Okay. Yeah, thank you on that one. Well, we have services at hospitals where we have the counseling, but I feel that should be extended not only in health facilities. I feel that should be extended in communities where people are, because just being there, some people, they feel we have problems. Yes, I have problems. Sometimes I can't go to the hospital. I feel I go to the hospital, but if there are people providing those services nearby and close by where at least you have that kind of interaction, I feel we can be able to move further on that one. Then the other point I wanted to stress out was as we keep on moving, we need to really take care of each other, and we just have to know ourselves. One thing that is most important: know who you are. When you know yourself, you will not be intimidated by anybody. Nobody, your friend's success will not be able to, will not move you from your goal. Let's work on our goals. One of the important things is that we must all realize, as youth especially, who happen to be the most at a very high risk of even committing suicides, we cannot make it at the same time. The fact that your friend has made it, it doesn't mean you'll never make it.
Delay
of course,
is not denial.
Thank you so much for that one. Yes, and for real, for sure, delay is not denial. Keep working on your dreams. Don't be derived from your goals just because your friend is driving and so on and so forth. Keep on, work on your goals. Success comes, I mean, opportunities come to the prepared. You can't get employed, you don't expect to get an employment of some sort if you don't have the qualification. And you can't expect to just get employed. Yeah, miracles happen without applying, of course. That's what I literally mean by opportunity comes to the prepared. So we need to provide our relevance where we are relevant, and we should be able to work on our goals and always remember to be ourselves.
Ah, great. That sounds like a closing remarks. Yeah? Are we good?
Okay. We're good.
Oh, okay. We're good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, hope you've learnt one or two things. I was just having a conversation with the social activist and also a peer educator, Emmanuel Chabamba, and I've learned actually a lot on how you can notice if someone is suicidal, the signs, the early signs, and also how we can help such people and also the community at large in curbing the vice. Well, unfortunately, I've come to the end of the show. I'd love to say thank you to everybody that actually stayed good. I'd love to say thank you for actually coming through and watching the Camnet Breakfast. Well, from me, Precious Mzea Sakaleji, Elijah and Isaac Chifita on the other side, it's good morning and have a beautiful day.